In our last video, we put fuel into the carburetors for the first time in what was probably a long time. I just set up this really basic little arrangement there with the fuel pump, brand new fuel pump of course, to replace the one that the previous owners had butchered, and I just basically dunked it into a can of 4-stroke lawnmower fuel to get some fuel into them, and we were quite pleased to see that there was nothing coming out of the fuel overflows, but we had a massive leak here on this T-piece. So what we have here is like a, call it like a fuel distribution rail. Fuel comes into this T-piece and spreads out over the 4 carburetors, and sadly, probably from being moved around just like that, the O-ring is worn on this T-piece. That feels like either a hard plastic or Bakelite as well, so it's not going to be particularly resistant to cracks and things like that. You have to bear in mind that T-piece and its O-rings are 32 years old and they've been dry for a long time. Now a word to the wise. These carburetors, they're not overwhelmingly complex, but they're not for beginners. If it isn't broken, don't fix it. And this is a rule that I actually I obey this rule myself. If it isn't broken, I don't fix it. Those things are very time consuming to set up well. I don't know what state they're in now. I'm prepared to suck and see. So I'm not going to interfere with them to any great extent at this point. You're not going to see 4 carburetors spread out all over the bench. With 55,000 kilometres on the clock, those carburetors should still be quite serviceable. So I'm content to not interfere with them to any great degree, not until I've seen this motor run. So we don't want to introduce problems, that's the thing. But the point to that was basically, if you're new to motorcycles, if last week you just worked out how to change a spark plug, messing with these guys is probably not for you, and the bike will run really badly if you make a mistake. Those 4 carburetors, they have to be synchronized to each other. You know, there's just so many steps in making these guys run well. I'm not scared of them personally, but I've got a really healthy respect for them. I hope that makes sense. Now the only way I can see these guys getting sorted out, nice, except for that one. I'm not really happy with that one. The only way I can see these guys getting sorted out is to actually remove them, because that T-piece extends into about there, I would guess. Obviously I've had a look at a few parts charts and things like that, and sort of seen a breakdown of these guys. So the carbies have to come out so that we can separate them. Once we've determined that this T-piece is the only thing that we need to rectify, this leak, then we'll start ordering parts. But for the short term, we're just going to pull them out and see what we can see. Although I did say that it wasn't my intention to kit 4 carburetors, depending on what we see, that might happen. We might repair the O-rings, put the carbies back in, and the thing run like crap. So many, you know, life is just so full of surprises. I'm sort of contemplating whether or not to pull one float chamber out as well and have a look and see what it looks like inside. What I'm concerned about is that white powder that you get when fuel dries out. if the carburetors are full of that, this is the time that we should fix it. So we're going to start by pulling the choke cable off. And that's probably the easiest task we'll do today. There we go, one choke cable. Now this breather arrangement needs to come out as well. I'll just pop him down there where he's hopefully not going to get in the way. Need a 10mm so that we can enjoy removing these throttle cables. Now finding a 10mm in this place. What can I say? One. I have a lot of respect for push-pull cables. It's basically a safety feature. It allows you to, if your pull cable, which it makes the bike accelerate, if that snaps, you've definitely got the ability to ring the thing back to you know, basically roll off the throttle and thus avoid running into whatever's in front of you. Troublesome little cuss, isn't it? I might leave those guys there for when I actually pull the carburetors up and out. We'll disconnect this fuel line while we're at it. Oh, got fuel. These guys will leave intact for now. Right, now this is one of these awkward things where what we're looking at is so deeply in there that I'm not sure you guys are going to get a good view of this. And the top off, I can't get a good view of it either. What we're actually attempting to undo is the rubber inlet manifolds. You can just see my screwdriver working on one of the clips on one there. And you can probably just see me working over the next one there. Makes you one up on me because I'm virtually blind in this. I'm actually using my mobile phone's link to the camera to see from where you guys are to determine where the screws are. And the last one we can get to from this side. Even though chances are pretty good you won't see it too well. And when I pull them out, we'll have a looky at them. Okay, so we should be able to try and pull these guys out. Oh yeah. Whoa. Alright, so what's holding this in? Nothing. So at this point, we'll go around to our throttle cable, which is suddenly a heck of a lot easier to remove. Why are these loose? Oh, these are the ones I loosened off. Oh, and there's fuel going everywhere. Excellent. I'm just having a bit of a peek down there. Now I'd love to go nuts with a pressure washer back there, I really would. But I don't want to take the risk, because you don't want anything to get in here. Not dirt, not water. That's the inlet ports, so they're a direct passage straight into the cylinder. So clean, unused rag. And that'll keep that all filth-free. Now I've created a bit of space on the bench. You guys might recall I was talking about these little rubber goodies here, little rubber inlet manifolds. They have a tendency to get hard. These guys are fairly hard by the feel of them. And when they get hard, they tend to crack and create leaks, air leaks specifically, which is not particularly good. Now this guy here has been loosened off in two places. And to be honest with you, visibility was so poor down there, I'm not actually sure which one is the one I loosened. Bit of a worry. Now, as always, when you're prizing something, do it gently. Take your time. Yeah, that's still serviceable. I've seen far worse. Far worse. Oh. That's how our choke mechanism works. I'm guessing that the main thing holding these carburetors together is this little gem up the top. Which is looking like it's going to be a real pleasure to remove. Oh yeah. That doesn't want to come, does it? Time for a cup of coffee. Right, let's try a different screwdriver with a bit more leverage. Oh, and there's one. So I've just gone from my usual number 3 to a number 4. Anybody who reaches for an impact driver at this point probably shouldn't be permitted to breed. Oh, she don't want to play. So I'm just trying a different tack with it now. I've managed to crack these two guys here without too much effort. And that'll allow me to take the choke mechanism off, or part of it. Put them over there. It gives me fairly clear access to these two. So I've got one on these sides, because what we need to do is get two of these carburetors to move. Theoretically. It's always the way. I'll keep working on them rather than bore you guys. So I did manage to get them with a little patience and a little ingenuity. This particular screwdriver is a really good fit into the top of these screws, and I was putting a lot of good weight down on them, and this stops it from slipping and chewing it out. And then I was, of course, providing a little bit of leverage through the ratchet. So that's just a socket that but hey, it works. And they're all stuck pretty solid, and they're all good. In fact, that's the ugliest out of the lot of them. They only get better from there. Guessing this end carburetor is what you can see here. Let's move his in a little closer. So we have the choke mechanism now, and a few other little goodies still holding it together. So you can actually see this end carburetor wants to come off. Now we don't want to lose sight of our objective, which is to replace the O-ring on this side of this carburetor. Which we could just about do. In fact, we could. Look at that. That's nice. So out she comes. I would just say that it's just generally worn, this. Yeah, it's definitely the O-ring that's leaking. Oh, it's beautiful. Let's go find an O-ring. Cool, so we're back with the coffee and some O-rings. old one gone. Well, the one that leaked came off quite easily, which I guess kind of makes sense. It was a little flat and sad. I'd say, excuse me, I'd say the main cause of this leak is actually the fact that the T-piece sort of flopped around there. You know, it was moving inside there constantly, and it's not really what O-rings are all about. There you go, some nice simple O-ring installation there. Making them a little bit slipperier, and you can feel the difference. It's quite surprising. Okay. Oh, definitely. What we should probably do as well is just double check our handiwork and make sure that we haven't damaged anything. But we will leak test this before we actually go so far as to start installing the carburetors again. So I'm just putting those in loosely. Having disturbed the other O-rings, we've got a really distinct possibility that they're going to leak as well. So I've actually bought a kit from Honda, part 16040 KEA 000, which supersedes the original part for those who are wondering. And it's just basically all of the O-rings across there. So if we have to, we can backtrack and we can replace all of them. I really don't want to disturb these carburetors too much. There's the balance of the carburetors for an example. Oop, we don't want to put that one in, that's bad. Your carburetors are best balanced after the motor has been run, and by run I mean run down the street, and given a good bit of exercise. So we're not really in a position to do that with our bike. I mean, we're not even 100% certain the thing works at this point. I'm afraid balancing the carbies, if it needs to be done, will be a job that I will do somewhat down the track. Now, these guys don't have to be incredibly tight. Really just cinching them up. I'm just checking to make sure that the throttle body's all open properly and are open the same amount. Check that our choke still works. I think we'll plug her into the bike and look for leaks. Okay, so we all got our fingers crossed. I know I have. Now the fuel system on these guys only runs at about 1 pound. Because there's 4 carburetors there, you can't quite rely on gravity to keep them fed, especially when the thing is lying virtually flat on the road, scraping the foot pegs on the ground. And that is why they have a fuel pump in most machines with multi-carburetors. It's come up to full pressure, so you can imagine I'm pretty stoked because I don't have to pull these guys apart. So mandatory now, there's fuel flowing across the bench everywhere from these carbies. These manifolds are in good condition, for the age of the bike at least. I guess that's the context that you always need to put it into. How old is the machine? How available are the parts? Well, there's a set right there. They're just not that bad. So I don't know if I want to go to the big step of replacing them. I might drink this coffee and think about it. Well, I guess in the end my decision was based on the fact that these guys are still quite soft. So they haven't hardened up. It sort of makes it hard to decide to replace something when it isn't broken. And they go on quite well. They probably will be easier to fit than the replacement items. So I guess we'll go with putting the originals back on. Just as soon as I remember how to put it on properly. I'm just kidding, of course. This guy will go in there. He will go in there. This one here is the one that I was complaining was already loose. So I'm not sure what to make of that, to be honest. But we've established during our travels that this bike has been well and truly interfered with. And I guess this is just another symptom of that. Why anybody would loosen one of these and not retighten it is a bit baffling. Who knows? Check the others while we're here. Oh. Can't spill that coffee. Okay, that's a little odd. Now this should be our carby for number 4. So it's a little unique where its clip faces the other way. Awesome. Might even give trying to start it another go. Okay, so let's start with the throttle cables. If you're in doubt as to which one's which, make sure they've both got some tension on them. Now the one that pulls in is your accelerator. The other one is like a safety. So far so good. Sorry that the view of this is not the best. Some slack. Ooh. Troublesome little cuss, isn't it? Yeah. Time to take a break. The old man's back's buggered. Alright, so I just had a different plan of attack. My back started grumbling in there. That's the benefits of being old, I guess. And it came together quite easily. Just elevate it, push your cable through, gets easier from there. So we're just giving that a rough sort of a adjustment, because we don't want this guy getting loose. Yeah. And falling off. Right. Oh. Now we'll try and line these guys up. Nice, nice, nice. Ew. Yep, yep, yep. Yep. And we want to make sure that the manifolds go over the intake port neatly. You don't want them to lose shape. So number one's okay. Let's see if we can just do this by feel. Something happened there, that's for sure. Okay, cool. Ah, that was it. Yep, that was it. We're in. Now there's no point in trying to give you guys a view of this, it's just not possible. I can't see it myself. So this is all being done by feel. I'm not kidding you. I wish I was kidding you. Actually, they're not too bad once you've located them. I'm doing number 4 first, and what I've had to do is actually swing number 4's clip around a bit so that I've got access to it through a handy little hole that probably was put into the frame exactly for this purpose. I still have no explanation to why these guys were loose on this side. Well, I do feel sorry for the next person who has to take this out. Sadly, I have a feeling that'll be me. Ooh. Okay. Now we're in position. Probably what I should have done is leak tested it again before I started tightening things. Okay, I can live with this. Oh. Once again, going by feel. there somewhere. Last one. Beautiful. I've just taken the opportunity to put the battery charger on it. Make sure that's a nice snappy throttle. Now I've just got a little bit of play there. Some of that will be taken away as I tighten it up. Breather. It's into a clip there. And that's pretty much it.